talk about a few safe precautions, protocols I have when delivering a litter of puppies. Of course, this can change, so don't think that this is set in stone. You have to follow these guidelines because ultimately, use your intuition, listen to your mother. If you feel like there's something more going on, then seek professional help, a veterinarian. Okay. Once a mom starts pushing, that's considered stage 2 labor. I never want them in stage 1 labor for too long either. You have to moderate and monitor that. The older a mom gets, typically the longer they'll stay in stage 1. So that's where you see like nesting, intermittent contractions. They nest, they pant, they pace, but then they go back to sleep. They nest, they pant, they pace, they go back to sleep. Once we get to, they're not eating, they may be vomiting a little bit. They're in pain. You can see it. Some moms do hide this better than others. Some moms spend very little time in stage 1 and all of a sudden they're pushing out puppies and you're like, holy heck, where was my notice on this, right? So really understanding the mom's, the mom's behaviors going into labor helps too. How much are they sleeping? How are they sleeping? Where are they sleeping? Like, we pay attention to all that. So as soon as we start seeing things shift and change, then we know, okay, we might be getting into stage 1 labor. Okay. Stage 2 labor starts, they start actively pushing. That's when I look at the clock. All right, we start pushing at 6 p.m. I want a puppy by 8. Otherwise, I'm going to start worrying. A mom shouldn't be pushing for more than 2 hours to get a puppy out. There are things you can do to help if you feel like it's not progressing. So once we get to about an hour of pushing, whether it's the first puppy or the 5th, once an hour and we're still, and it's good pushes, not like those little half-ass pushes. I'm talking about the good bear down pushes, even standing up and pushing. Like, she's giving it all she's got and the puppy's not coming. You can get her up and walk her. Okay, that will always help. Take a washcloth with you in case a puppy comes out. You can flip her on the other side. You can wheelbarrow her, which is where she's standing, and you pull the back side of her up. So it's like you're using gravity to push all the puppies back away from the birth canal. Like, let's just kind of reset everything. Let's wheelbarrow her, push everything back. Let's see if everything kind of shifts and aligns. You can do vaginal checks. I'm not going to talk about that on this video. You guys always want like super duper in-depth conversations about that. Which I understand, but we're just talking protocols for time on this video. So once we hit 2 hours though, that's when I start calling the vet. If I don't feel the puppy in the birth canal, or if I do and they're stuck, you can use the coconut oil, you can use a washcloth. When they push, gently pull. Only when they push, gently pull. You can do that as well. So can moms have a longer stall between puppies? So if they're not pushing, they're not in distress, they're sleeping, and they have 5 puppies nursing on them, and I know they got more in there, I'm not going to worry if it takes her 3 hours to start pushing again. That can be absolutely normal. My mom, again, is not in distress. Okay, that's the key. All the puppies are nursing. Her body is resting. She's happy. She's attentive. She's cleaning her puppies, and then she rests. She checks on them all and cleans them, and then she rests. And then boom, before you know it, contractions start happening again, and she'll deliver again. So there can be that normal pause in between. The problem is if they are doing what? If they are actively pushing. So our rule is we don't want them pushing for more than 2 hours. Otherwise, we'll start employing some of those strategies: walking, turning around, wheelbarrowing, vaginal checking. If not, then we'll head to the vet because we just don't want a puppy stuck in the birth canal for too long. Or if there's something else going on, we don't want to lose the rest of the puppies or the mom. How do you know when they're done? They're content for a long time. Ours is 2 hours. If we're at 2 hours and they're really, really content, I'll start cleaning up. I'll keep a watch on the camera and see, because again, they could have a long pause and they could still have puppies, and just kind of keep an eye on it. But if we're like 8, 9 puppies and we have a 2 hour, very quiet, mom's very content, she's sleeping a lot, most likely she's done. There may be 1 or 2 more in there, but I'll start cleaning everything up and just keep an eye on her. So I hope that helps with just some simple, it's kind of 2 hours, 2 hour protocols to ensure the safety of our mom and our puppies. How do you handle children in your family business. I'm going to give you some advice based on my experience of raising 5 actually children in the business. 2 were my stepchildren, 2 were my biological children, and 1 child by choice. He came to me as a teenager though, and was with us for over 4 years and worked for the family business. So first off, it's not easy to navigate. There's lots of considerations, and every child is different and every family is different. But here's a few things I did. But I also want you to share what you're doing or what you've done so that we can help people decide what they think is best for them. Because I really feel like this is something that's not talked enough about, because there's not that many families that have a family business like a farm life, where there's kind of no choice but then for your children to be a part of it, whether they want to or not, because the whole family is influenced by when litters are born and litters go home, when these puppies are in your home or on your property. Like, there's no way around it for your children to be infiltrated essentially by your decisions to be a breeder. So what I did initially was, if kids helped out with the litter, they had specific things they had to do each day, cleaning kennels, especially caring for the adult dogs. It used to be I would do everything with the newborns and the mom, and they would take care of the adult dogs. And then after a litter would go home, they would get a percentage of that litter, the profit. So it'd sit down and, like, hey, this much has to go back into the business to sustain it. Here is your portion for helping with this litter. Or even if whether there was a profit or not, I still paid them. And what I tried to implement early on, and I got better at this, was really trying, what I wanted to do, my goal was to teach them the value of $1 and hard work and how to manage and handle money. So it became, they could work, they could make as much money as they wanted, they could take on shifts and hours. I use timestation.com, and it's free up to like 10 people, and they would even clock in and clock out. They were held accountable for being on time and doing a good job. Although that can be a really sticky line with kids. They don't want to listen to you anyway. So then add the whole fun benefit of it. Now it's you're their boss. So they would clock in and clock out, and Jenna still does. Jenna still works for 40 Kennels, and she gets an hourly rate and she gets paid. Jenna has a bank account. She has a debit card. I have told my kids early on, I'll buy what you need and you can buy what you want. So when we would go shopping, if Matthew wanted Pokemon cards, I'm like, is that a need or a want? And they would have to sit there and figure it out. And then they're like, oh, well, do I really want to spend $5? And oh, that's working this much. Maybe it's not that important. Or yeah, it's that important, I'm buying it. So just trying to help them navigate even handling and taking care of money, because that's not something they're taught in school. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like I think it's a huge gap in educating our kids. We're not even teaching them how to balance a quote-unquote checkbook, and accounting and how to manage money. But of course, there's always cons to everything, and it's a difficult balance to be a mom or a dad and then be their boss. That can cause friction. There's been plenty of times where the kids just felt utterly frustrated, and I wasn't always the best mom. It's hard to be a good boss and a good mom and still be running everything and doing everything. So I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I just have. Matthew, I don't know if he'll ever own a dog in his life. He's so burnt out on dogs. Plus, he's always really been kind of a cat person. I had struggles with stepkids too, just struggling with feeling like I was being unfair or harder on them than employees. And yeah, probably was. I did demand and require more for my own kids. I do of Jenna today as well. Like, I am harder on her. So anyway, I just wanted to reach out. Tell me what you guys are doing. This is something that does get brought up often. How do you manage your kids in the family business without ruining your relationship with them, or them getting burnt out, or them not even liking dogs anymore? How do you answer the question, I'm last on the list or second last to the list, and what if when it's my turn to select a puppy and it's not a puppy I want. That can be an issue for breeders that do reservation lists based on deposit or gender or color, however you want to do it. But when you put people in a certain order to pick, what do you tell people before they get on the list or they're at the end? Like, it's just normal to think that way. Like, what if it's my turn to pick and the last puppy available doesn't meet my needs? Whether it's color, gender, temperament, size, I don't know, right? So this is what I tell people. I do tell them, because that is my system as well. Clients do not select until the puppies go home on the same day. They come in, select their puppy in order, and then take them home. That way vet clearances are done, puppy evaluations are done. I don't take any money till they take their puppy. It's been a very clean system for me. And that way, if something happened to a puppy and I lost a puppy or whatever, I'm not, that wasn't somebody's puppy already. It took for me a lot of pressure off my shoulders day to day. So what do I say to clients? So if there is availability on a reservation list, or you know, the master list was so full that they got on a list. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But what if they're last pick or second to last pick? I tell people, if they're traveling, they can wait. If their needs are so specific, like gender, and based on the number of, I'm having a hard time today. Happy Friday, y'all. Jeez Louise. All right, I have to get these videos done in 5 minutes because my caption program won't caption videos over 5 minutes. So sometimes I feel that pressure, the ticking clock, more than other days. I don't know why I'm feeling it today as I stumble around about reservation lists. That was not my point anyway. So what do I tell people? If they're traveling from out of state, I say, if your needs are so specific that your chance of getting the puppy you need and want are less, don't travel yet. Just stay put. I'll call you. Hey, it's Jeanette. This puppy's available. Did you want it or not? And if it's a puppy that meets their needs, then they can make travel within reason. I usually say within a week to come pick up the puppy. So kind of be on standby, basically. You may get the puppy, you may not. Initially, when people make a deposit with me, I say, look, you're not placing for specific puppy or specific litter necessarily. You're placing a deposit with me in my program. So I can't guarantee any puppy. Be as picky as you want. I don't care. I welcome it. It's fine. Have the color, the gender, the temperament. It's your dog. But the only thing I ask in return is then to be flexible and patient, because I may not know, you may not know until go home day if that puppy will be available. So that's what I say. And then if I tell people, like, if that doesn't feel comfortable to you, if that's not the way you want to do it, then I'm not the breeder for you. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're asking for too much. It doesn't mean that I'm doing the system wrong. This is how I do it. This is what works for me and my puppies, to make sure I honor them, to make sure they have their vet clearances, to make sure I've given them a voice in their placement through puppy evaluations. And then my clients pick an order. I don't pinpoint people to gender. I have had people change that a lot. They say they want a male, but after evals and then they come and meet the puppies, a female's like, but this is exactly what makes my heart happy. And they switch, and it's okay. So I don't tie people in to a gender. I let them know they can choose any puppy that's available to them, that when it's their turn to pick. I'll sit there and hash out pros and cons based on temperament, based on gender, based on potential coat, type, size, whatever they want. I'll sit there and nitpick all day long till they feel comfortable. So anyway, that's how I answer. Why the heck would I want to be last pick on a list? What happens if the puppy isn't the one I want or need? And if it's not, they just stay on. I have a master list. They stay on that until they actually take a puppy, and they're on the master list still. And then they have to wait for the next litter, and then they'll be placed on the next litter. So flexibility and patience, super important. Thanks for riding shotgun with me today.